All right, it's that time of the week, time for your favorite show, allegedly. Look, if it's not your favorite show, don't tell me, because I'm just going with it, right? This is my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's the NFC West Huddle. This is where we go around and check in with each expert in each market of the NFC West. Over in San Francisco, we've got Bailey O'Carroll. In Seattle, my man, Ethan McReynolds. And, of course, in L.A. is Gerard Moncure. I'm Richard Sines here in Phoenix, Arizona, representing the Cardinals, who are not in the playoffs, but my Chimichangas did go to the Super Bowl and lost for a second year in a row. Thanks a lot, Jared Goff. Anyway, let's talk about the NFC West, and let's talk about this marquee matchup in the NFC West. Wow, what a difference a year makes. Happy New Year, by the way. And what a difference a couple weeks make for the St. Louis Rams, San Francisco 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. You got San Francisco taking on Seattle with the #1 seed in the NFC on the line. That's how tough this division has been. Who's going to win this game and why? You guys let me know. Bailey, how do the 49ers win this game, in your opinion? Or how does Seattle win this game?
If you could see my reaction there, but I want that to be part of my answer. I do think that it is going to be a very close game. These are two very, very good teams. San Francisco came down to the wire against the Chicago Bears. And I think this one, I don't know if it's quite as close. I don't know if it's going to come down to the last play of the game. But I think it's going to be close. I do think that the Niners edge out the Seattle Seahawks for this one. It's at Levi Stadium. Niners fans are loud. That stadium was incredibly loud on Sunday, and I don't think it's going to be any different on Saturday. Yeah, the Niners have a short week, but I think they're going to get George Kittle back. Trent Williams is still up in the air, but I think the Niners, they are hot. Brock Purdy scored 5 touchdowns in back-to-back weeks, and that's exactly what you want out of your quarterback when you're at this point in the season. You want them to be kind of on that crescendo up, and that's exactly what is going on for San Francisco right now. So I think the Niners take it.
All right, yeah, it's amazing to see what San Francisco has done with so many injuries, right? You look at the Arizona Cardinals, and that's been their kind of calling card and saying, oh, we've had more injuries than every team, but boy, the 49ers, they just continue to plug in people and continue to win. Tip of the cap to San Francisco. Tip of the cap to Seattle, too, Ethan. You guys always continue to be consistent. The defense has been amazing again, year after year. I would imagine that's going to be the reason you think Seattle's going to win, or do you think San Francisco's going to win? Be honest with me. What do you think? I mean, both teams are playing well at just the right time.
Yeah, both teams on 6-game winning streaks. Both teams' last loss was to the LA Rams, funny enough. But Richard, no surprise here. I'm picking the Seahawks. The Hawks are playing as well as any team in the league right now. And yes, Brock Purdy, 5 touchdowns in each of the last 2 games. But he wasn't playing the Seahawks defense. They have the second best scoring defense in the league, and they're coming off a game in which they allowed just 139 total yards, 54 passing yards, 1.5 yards per pass to Bryce Young, and they've allowed 16 or less points in 4 of their last 5 games. The Seahawks are playing very good football, but I also like the matchup specifically against the Niners. San Francisco only has 18 sacks this year, by far the least in the league. Defenses that have caused Sam Darnold trouble are ones that can get him off his spot, a la the Rams, and disrupt his progressions. There's no Nick Bosa in the picture to worry about like there was in Week 1. I think this is a great opportunity for Sam Darnold to get back on track against an unproductive pass rush that we saw on Sunday night. Caleb Williams, no sacks there. So now, of course, there are some things working against the Hawks. They are 1-7 against the Niners since 2022. And yes, Sam Darnold does have the most turnovers of any player in the league. That is relevant. But I think this is the time for the Seahawks to get over the hump and for the torch of the NFC West to be fully passed to Seattle, just like what we thought it was against the Rams on Thursday Night Football. But the credit to the Niners, they did not go away. So yes, the turnovers are an issue, but the 49ers actually have a worse turnover differential than the Hawks. And we saw that play out against the Bears, the pick 6 to start the game. The Niners defense not as good at generating turnovers on the defensive side of the ball. And now Brock Purdy, he's going to be facing a much better defense as well than the cupcake schedule the Niners have had down the stretch. So I like this matchup for the Seahawks. I expect the NFC to run through Seattle and for the Seahawks to host a playoff game with fans in the stands for the first time in 9 years in just a couple of short weeks.
All right, I'm putting it in my diary. Ethan talking smack early on, guaranteeing victory.
Always, Richard.
It's in the diary. Gerard, are you going to take that? Wow, what a difference a couple weeks make for the Rams. We're not going to talk about the Rams-Falcons game. That's in the past. We'll talk about the Rams and their chances to win in the NFC. But first, you tell us about this particular matchup. You're familiar with both teams, of course, San Francisco and Seattle. Who are you taking here? You know, I like San Francisco's offense. Of course, Christian McCaffrey's been fantastic. But boy, that Seattle defense is something special. But I'm still not too crazy about Sam Darnold. What do you think?
Well, I think the first thing that you have to look at that's very telling is this game's at Levi's Stadium on Saturday night. And the Seahawks open as a 1.5-point favorite, all right? That says something to me right there, that the Niners are not the favorite in the biggest game of the year at home. Okay, why are the Seahawks a favorite? Well, let's go over some of the numbers that I pulled in this game. In their last 5 games, as Ethan said, both teams have won 6 games straight. But I want to break down numbers from the last 5 games. Seattle has given up 0, 9, 16, 37 to the Rams, and 10 to Carolina. 49ers defensively have given up 9, 8, 24, 27 to Indy, and then 38 to Chicago. And I think we all probably agree if there were 15 seconds left on the clock, Niners wouldn't have won the game. I think everyone pretty much across the country probably agrees with that. Christian McCaffrey is the key for San Francisco to win the game. Well, what has Seattle done against the run in their last 5 games? 66 against the Vikings, 120 against Atlanta, and we saw how potent they were last night against the Rams on the ground. 102 to Indy, 124 to the Rams, and 99 to Carolina. And what has Seattle done on the ground itself against that Niner defense? That's what we're looking at. 125 against the Vikings, 129 against the Falcons, 50 against Indianapolis. They did win that game, though. 171 against the Rams, and 163 against a good Carolina defense. So to me, this game is going to come down to defense and who can run the football to give their quarterback a chance to throw in prime positions, not second and long and third and long. And I think that that's going to be the Seahawks. These tight games that decide division titles and playoff wins are usually decided by defense. And let's face it, Seattle simply has the better defense. So although I think Kyle Shanahan is great, I'm going with Seattle because of their defense and their ability to run the football.
Yeah, Vince Lombardi said it, right? Good offenses win games, good defenses win championships. All right, coming up after the break, we'll talk about what Gerard likes to talk about, himself and his Rams and those LA teams. So coming up after the break, we talk about the Rams and their chance to win the NFC. All right, we are back. We're still talking about the NFC West. We're not talking about Seattle and San Francisco this time. We're talking about, as I mentioned, Gerard's favorite, LA, right? It's all about LA all the time. And you know what? Look, I know things have not gone well for the Rams the last couple of weeks, right? What a difference. We were just talking about the Rams, sweeping the NFC and being but now the best they can do is the 5th seed. Maybe the 6th seed. It all depends on what happens. That's bad news for the Cardinals because the Rams have something to play for. And Gerard, look, I wrote it in my diary. I'm still scared of L.A. I don't know, man. I'm not counting them out. It's in the diary. L.A. still has a chance. Look, they might have to go on the road. I know they don't want to go to Philly, right? They don't want to start, being the 6th seed going to Philly. They'd rather play the NFC South. So let's start with you, Gerard. How do the Rams survive this little hiccup here and get hot at the right time come postseason time and sweep the NFC?
Well, Richard, it is all about playing 60 minutes. That has been their downfall the entire season. If you had to look at one thing, one issue that this team has is they don't play a full game. You look at the game where they lost to the 49ers, they spotted San Francisco a 14-0 lead. They finally woke up and then pretty much controlled the game except for the last fumble. If you look at the game in Philadelphia, they led 21-6, did not finish the end of the 3rd and the 4th quarter. You look at the game against Seattle 2 Thursday nights ago now, they completely controlled the game until the last 8 minutes, but they did not finish the last 8 minutes and they did not finish overtime. And then last night, This is the first time where I would say a Sean McVay team probably has let one finish beat them the next game. They did not come out ready to play in the first half. Clearly, they trailed 21-0. When they decided to show up, they were the better team in the second half. But then it's too late. You allow things to happen, PITs that are not, or pass interferences that are not called, tough plays that don't go your way. You allow those to decide the game. So to me, there's got to be some soul searching going on in Woodland Hills this week. And Sean, he's going to know more about coaching than I'll ever know. But the approach to everything being so positive all the time, which is his style, we all see it in the post game. We see it in the weekly pressers that we attend at practice. The style might need to change a little bit. It might need to be a little bit more in terms of you cannot make these mistakes if we want to make a long playoff run. Because in the postseason, you make a mistake or two and the game's over. So to me, they've got to start playing 60 minutes, which they have not done. Exactly.
All right, so yeah, I still think, Matthew Stafford's done it before. He was not a happy camper after that Atlanta game. He looked like, look, give me another chance and I'll get it right. So Ethan, do you still think the Rams have a chance here, or are you done with them? You on San Francisco and already making, plans for the Super Bowl?
No, Richard, I'm with you. I'm still terrified of the Rams. I think the Rams are still absolutely legitimate Super Bowl contenders because specifically of Matthew Stafford. I mean, we've been talking about it this week. If you had to rank teams that I would want the Seahawks to play the least, the Rams are at the top of that list. I mean, they are a full, complete football team when, as Gerard mentions it, if they can just play a full 60 minutes, I mean, it's similar with the Seahawks. If the Seahawks can just not turn the ball over, they'd be unstoppable. If the Rams could put together 60 minutes, they'd be unstoppable too. But with Matthew Stafford, I think anything is possible. He threw 3 picks against the Falcons after coming into the game with 5 all season. I think that's more of an outlier than more of a predictor of what's to come. Now, there are issues on the road, though. That is something that I could see preventing a long playoff run. Having to go on the road to Philly or Chicago in January just sounds like a death sentence for any team. I think that puts even more importance on this Niners-Seahawks game for both teams because they won't have to go on the road, let alone having the home field advantage, which is important, but not having to go onto the road into those it's going to be some inclement weather there in January. Miss me with that. I mean, and the Rams, on top of that, they have not been good in the elements for a few years now. So, yes, it's going to be a tough road, but you can never doubt Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. I think they'll be just as tough to beat as the other wild card team in the division, whoever it ends up being from the Seahawks and Niners. And, depending on where the Rams end up and how things sort of shake out in the playoffs, it could be Seahawks-Rams. If the Seahawks get the 1 seed, they could be facing the Rams, in that divisional round in that first playoff game. And that's not something that I'm really looking forward to if it shakes out that way.
It's all about the NFC West, right? All right, Bailey, are you with me and just sick of L.A.? I wrote it in my diary. Look, anybody but L.A., right? Are you with me? But what do you think? Do you think that the Rams still have a chance? Talk to me, Bailey. Talk me off the ledge here.
I do think the Rams still have a chance. I mean, much like everybody else has said, when I was writing down some thoughts about this topic, I wrote 4 words down: Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay. Sean McVay, coaching genius. I do think he's going to get it figured out, but if you have Matthew Stafford on your team, I don't think you can ever count the Rams out or whatever team he's playing for out. We've seen Matthew Stafford do it for many, many years at this point in the NFL. He is somebody that just makes magic happen. He's seen basically every scenario that could happen in a football game happen. And I think for that reason, obviously all the other weapons that LA has around him, I don't think you can ever count LA out. I mean, I learned that. I can't even remember what week it was of the season, but when the Niners played the Rams and we got that overtime thriller, I don't think you can ever count the Rams out.
All right, this comment is more for Ethan and Gerard. Hey, guys, did you notice? I think Bailey just got her nails done because she's like this. I don't know about what's going on here. I think it's, this and that. She's showing off the nails. look, we get it. Your nails look nice, very nice. Hey, the Rams, they still look nice too. The Rams, they might be getting their ring size once again for a Super Bowl, because look, I'm not counting these guys out. I know Ethan already, got plans for the Super Bowl. He says Seattle's going to, run the table here, but boy, I'm not sure. The Rams are getting some key players back. So they're going to get a receiver back. They're going to get Puka Nacua is still amazing. Devontae Adams is great. So, look, I still fear the Rams. And, of course, it's a new year, so there's new hope. San Francisco, Seattle, you're like Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope to beat the Rams. Speaking of New Year, we'll talk about New Year's resolutions coming up after the break. And we are back. Hey, this is it. The final NFC West segment of 2025. Don't get emotional now. Hey, we're going to be back in 2026, right? But let's finish up strong, people. All right, give me your New Year's resolution for your team, right? Let's find out what you guys would like to do differently, something fresh, something new. I'll start off, right? I'll say the Cardinals need to clean house, man. They need a demolition team to come in and just rebuild everything. Boy, 8-game losing streak. 5 of those 8 losses have been by at least 19 points or more. For a while there, it was cool to see, hey, look, they're losing by 1 score here, 1 play here, 1 play there. They can change this thing around, but boy, it seems like a lot of these guys have checked out, right? Certain players have not, but boy, look, the fans here in Arizona, the natives are getting restless. They want some heads to roll, so I get it. So I think they're going to need a cleaning crew for their New Year's resolution, right? New, fresh, everything. We're not just talking about putting some paint on it. We're talking about knocking walls down, right? So, hey, let's see. Over there in Seattle, I know you guys are already building a statue for Sam Darnold, Ethan, but what's your New Year's resolution out there?
Well, it has to do with Sam Darnold. For the Seahawks, the resolution has to be for Mike Macdonald, win the turnover battle, game in and game out. It's been the story of the Hawks season. I've mentioned it. Sam Darnold has the most giveaways of any player in the entire league, yet they still have 13 wins and are 1 more away from the 1 seed and 14 wins that would set a franchise record. Imagine this team if they could just take care of the ball on offense. They'd be absolutely unstoppable. Mike Macdonald has not lost a game as head coach when the Seahawks have won the turnover battle. That has to be the key, or that has been the key to the entire season, and it will be again on Saturday against the San Francisco 49ers. Easier said than done. I know you don't want Sam Darnold to turn into check down Charlie, but at a certain point, you sort of got to rein it in and tell Sam, hey, we got to be making some smart decisions with the football.
Yeah, and now it's time for him to really show what he can do come playoff time, right? Playoffs? Yeah, we're talking playoffs. Yeah, Gerard, your teams are always in the playoffs, right? In any sport, whether it's baseball, basketball, and football. So, yeah, what's the New Year's resolution for your Rams team? Are you guys going to get on isogenics, do some Reiki, to help with the injuries? Because if you guys could stay healthy, you'd be good.
They need to close out the outside world, all right? Ever since Puka Nacua had that little incident on the Rams property with the streamers, things have gone downhill. He made some comments about the referees, and the referees have not cost the Rams the last 2 games, but have the Rams gotten favorable treatment? Definitely not. There was a story done on the Rams front 4 calling them the new version of the old fearsome foursome and that the Rams used to have. And ever since that package ran, this defensive front has not been as good as it had been previously during the season. A matter of fact, last night, Jared Verse had his hands on Bijan Robinson and should have made the tackle when he took off on the long touchdown run that he had. There's just been too much reading of the headlines. There's too much of the outside world seeping into Woodland Hill, in my opinion, and they need to close the ranks and focus on playing great football Sunday against Arizona as long as the starters are going to play. And they need to get back to playing how they played at the beginning of the year, where they were dominating people. Yep. And, of course, as I said earlier, Richard, it's got to be about 60 minutes. And that's got to be part of that enclosure. Can't listen to anyone else. Let's just play our game.
Yeah, and the Cardinals will be just what the doctor ordered for the Rams. They'll get you guys tuned up ready for the playoffs, that's for sure. All right. Hey, Bailey, what's the New Year's resolution for the San Francisco 49ers? Oh, by the way, Puka Nacua, a wide receiver causing drama. Who would have thunk it? That's so rare for a receiver to cause drama, right? They all can't be like Larry Fitzgerald or Ricky Pearsall. Well, there was some drama with him, too. But, Bailey, what do you think about the 49ers in the new year?
Health as well for the Niners, right? I mean, that's been the story since week 1 of this NFL season when they lost George Kittle basically on the first drive of the first game. They have to have and keep their starters healthy. We haven't had Nick Bosa really all season, Fred Warner out with a season-ending injury, so they want their superstars back on defense, and that is the resolution for this year. And I do think a lot of people, their initial thought is the training staff, is the Niners training staff. Do heads need to roll there? But what so many people forget is that a lot of these guys, most of their time training is outside of the facility, a lot of that time. And so they have their own trainers, they have their own coaches that they work with in the off season. So maybe it's some of those players need it. Obviously, this isn't the case every time with every guy with every injury, but looking sort of at what they're doing personally and saying, maybe this isn't the right route to go. A lot of the Niners in the last season started doing Pilates as a way to stay healthy and strengthen those small little muscles. So I've seen some of the O-line get into a local Pilates studio down in the South Bay and Santa Clara. So maybe they get the whole team doing Pilates. I don't know. Maybe that's the New Year's resolution. But health is wealth. And then the other thing, be grateful because the Niners would not be in the position they are in without Kyle Shanahan and without Robert Saleh, despite all the injuries they have had. So one thing to work on, one thing to recognize that was great this year.
I love it. Yeah, I think the Cardinals were doing yoga this year because they were the downward dog position all year long, right? They were getting dogged, that's for sure. What a rough year for the Arizona Cardinals. Hopefully, a new year will bring new hope. And I know I was going to go around and ask everybody who you think the player of the year was in the division. I'm sure Gerard would say Matthew Stafford, Ethan would say Sam Darnold, Bailey would say, Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to say it should be, without question, Trey McBride. He was absolutely fantastic in a horrible season for the Arizona Cardinals. Just 3 wins this year. It's absolutely amazing. And this guy sets the record. No tight end in the history of the National Football League has had more receptions than Trey McBride in one season. And he did it in the real season, right? He didn't use that extra game to break the record. He's going to pad the stats this week, probably because they're going to be playing catch-up the whole time against the Rams. But, boy, I think he's the player of the year for the NFC West division, and that's saying something, right? Because, boy, we've had a lot of great players, and we've had a great year. Yeah. I want to wish all of you guys a happy new year. Enjoy the playoffs. I'll be watching, jealous as always because the Cardinals are not in it, but I want to wish you some wealth, health, and prosperity in the new year. Happy New Year. Let's go get them in 2026. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next year.